Support for Cinema Classics comes from Film Columbus, enriching our community to make Columbus a destination for film education, exhibition, and production. Learn more at filmcolumbus.com. Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to shows every Thursday at 8:01 p.m. and full versions online at WCBE.org. I'm Johnny DiLoretto.
I'm John DeSando.
This is Cinema Classics. This is what, the 503rd episode?
And it's the 1000th reiteration of A Star is Born.
Oh, yeah. There may be
like
more versions of A Star is Born than there are episodes of our show.
There are some international versions that we're not acknowledging.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
But we are looking generally at the 4 A Star is Born, starting in 1937 with Janet Gaynor.
And Frederick March.
And then...
one of the great unsung actors. He is one of the great screen actors. Nobody talks about him. Every time that guy was on screen, he was, and naturalistic in a way that, went, I think, unnoticed back then.
And classically handsome, and could take any role and make something classy out of it. Then 54 was the CinemaScope and Technicolor version.
Right.
George Cukor. Moss Hart writing, and
that was Judy Garland. And James Mason.
Right, and when
so far you got James Mason and Frederick March, both of whom are supremely capable of playing alcoholics.
That's so true. And then
probably method acting, but they didn't get credit for it.
Then in 1976, it's nobody else's but Barbra Streisand's.
Yeah,
and that's what irritates me about the film, is that it's so centered on her. And Chris Christopherson's a pretty cool dude.
But isn't it always centered on the... I mean, that's the point of these films.
Well,
is that you have... And that's the beauty... That's the beautiful dynamic where the melodrama is, right? Because you have these powerful men, right? They're already established. They have this... they have power.
Yeah.
Right? And then the power sort of just disintegrates as the woman ascends.
Correct.
The female character ascends, and it really is about kind of. I mean, I think that's integral to the appeal of A Star.
Yeah, and can you imagine how interesting it is these days, and look with the Me Too movement, and with the power of men over women, which is really getting our microscope these days.
Yeah.
So you're right in all of these. Actually, you have the male dominating until the male disintegrates. And in case of Bradley Cooper, which just came out last week, you have again a film that's focused on Lady Gaga's character, but you have Cooper as director also dominating it as male.
Yeah.
I mean, there's way too much. You and I were talking earlier. I just get tired of all the alcoholic scenes, although they're integral to seeing how he
right, it's part of the destructive.
Right.
Let's not forget this is melodrama.
That boy
this
is
a beautiful melodrama that has every generation. I forget who said this, but every generation, every 20 years, you get a version of this movie. It started out being about Hollywood and being about actors.
Right.
And then sort of the last couple of iterations.
Yes.
Yeah. Or about
the music
scene. World.
Yeah.
I did want to say one other thing about the Streisand thing. You brought up a good point that she was such a huge megastar.
Yeah.
In 1976.
Yeah.
Was it? She was such a huge star. I mean, probably a bigger star than Lady Gaga at that time, because Barbra Streisand was both a huge recording artist and a huge movie star, successful in both. And what a great counterpoint Chris Christopherson is to her. What great casting.
Yes.
Because he's so earthy.
Yeah.
And so low key, and she's just that big, brash New York personality.
And Cooper's a nice descendant of Christopherson. I think you'll find them compatible in many ways. But to your point, And in digging around, here's the conclusion I found. Streisand, and someone made this comment, this is not my thought, but Streisand is not vulnerable.
Yeah.
As this heroine must be vulnerable. She is not. And that's what makes it also a weaker version of this.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah.
You think that's not like an interesting twist?
Well, I think it makes so much of a better drama to have her partly like vulnerable. Like Lady Gaga's just wonderful as this.
Mm-hmm.
She is obviously a strong singer and performer, but she's also vulnerable. But never do you feel sorry for her. It's such an interesting role. But then again, the great role was Judy Garland's.
Yeah.
You know, nobody could be more vulnerable or yet more gifted, more talented than Judy Garland. She was perfect for that role. In fact, when the Oscars came out and Grace Kelly won rather than Judy Garland, here's what one of our heroes said.
Yeah.
He said, "This was the biggest robbery since Brinks." That was Groucho.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's funny.
So,
That's funny.
But anyway, so as we're looking at it, and you're getting close to where I was so interested to hear your thoughts. We have 4 iterations of this.
Mm.
What is it about this story that, as you said, every 20 years or so we need it again?
I don't know. I think there's this fantasy about becoming a star, you know? There's romance to it. There's tragedy.
Yep.
Right? Big emotions. I love melodrama. You know, I love that
I'm
stuff.
all for it.
Right.
Try to foster it in my family.
I don't think you have to foster it. So I think it has all these these just great elements to it. You know, and I think every generation thinks that they're going to tackle it in a way that's not melodramatic. But if you're not doing it right, if there's no melodrama there,
Right, exactly.
that it's supposed to be big, it's supposed to be grandiose.
And Hollywood has always been this. There's probably no better industry known around the world than Hollywood. So when it started with Hollywood, it was made to order, right? A place where you could become internationally known. You could become wealthy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the American dream.
Right. Now, yeah, exactly. Now, I haven't seen this last movie, so I'm not the last iteration yet.
Yeah.
But I do want to say that, and I can't even remember the ending of the Christopherson Streisand version, but in the 2 prior versions, Norman Maine kills himself.
Yes, correct.
Right? Okay. So.
And Cooper does too.
Oh,
in this one.
what do you
mean? What do you mean? You
tell
have
me
to.
that.
Jesus.
What the hell?
You can't.
What the hell?
It has to be.
What are you doing?
This is the way
I
the
just-
film resolves
I just
itself.
said I wasn't.
Well, what makes you think
Okay.
Christopherson?
I don't know. Listen.
Yes.
Oh my God. Let's just get right at it, right? That has to be part of the appeal to female audiences.
Wonderful.
Is that
yes.
that the male character who sort of nurtures the starlet,
Yes.
and she begins to ascend on her own, on the merits of her own talent, right?
Yep.
Then this guy starts to get problematic,
Yep.
right? Because he's jealous, and that fuels his self-destruction. And then he's out of the picture. She loves him, so she gets that, right? She gets the romance, and then also he dies, and so then the problem is solved.
Well, I think
It's got to be a fantasy.
and I've got to amend just a little bit of what you said there because you haven't seen the recent one.
Yeah, don't spoil it.
Well, I'm not going to spoil it, but Bradley Cooper plays down the jealousy bit, which I like a lot.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, because that could be annoying.
Oh, it definitely is, and it's a cliche.
Right.
So, there's much more to his character in this one. So, going back to my notion about the American dream, I think this captures the fantasy of the American dream, as well as, in a cynical way, what we see as almost an inevitable decline while there's a rise.
Yeah.
The decline and fall.
Right.
And while it probably doesn't happen to everyone, most Hollywood stars, and probably music stars, will in their 40s experience a decline.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that we know is probably going to happen. And while you can be prepared for it, you cannot totally be prepared if you're from the artist's point of view.
Right.
And that's what I love about these films. I mean, it is, they're looking at disaster and they can't seem to be able to stop it. If it's drugs and alcohol, as it is in the current edition, it's still something in flawed in that human being, that he cannot prepare himself for what's one of life's inevitabilities, a decline, a physical decline, a decline in glory, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that this film captures it better than, I mean, I love the Magnificent Seven, but the iterations of that are junk, right?
Right.
But you've got 4 solid stories based upon A Star is Born. The weakest being, I think, the third one.
Yeah.
But the others are great.
Yeah.
I mean, Dorothy Parker was one of the writers. That's the lead writer
for
of
the
the original.
one?
Right. Here is one line she wrote. I just want. She said about him, about Maine.
Yeah.
First drink of water he's had in 20 years, and then he had to get it by accident. How do you wire congratulations to the Pacific Ocean?
That's good.
But
As he walks into the ocean.
Yes, thank you. So
James Mason walk into the ocean too? Did they change that?
what did Mason do? That's a good question. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't know. I thought I knew, but I guess I don't.
Yeah, see? Gotta go back and watch these
Oh,
things.
I can't do it. All right, so when you go to, I want to hear back from you.
Oh.
When you go to see A Star is Born.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen it. I think it's solid.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and I think it's on a par with.
I like to see my own alcoholism on screen, like in a beautiful sort of,
I'm going to tell you, they should have asked for you. You do it much better.
I don't think
I mean,
so.
I think these, and particularly Cooper, is way over the top.
Yeah.
And oh my God,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
But anyway, this is Hollywood. This is the music business.
Yeah, I know.
And this is probably going to go
Is
on
his
forever.
name Norman Maine in it?
No, it's Jackson, Maine.
Jackson Maine. So
Which I
keep
thought
the
is
main part.
Right, you keep the main part.
Yeah.
And I like the Jackson because he has the farmer's cap,
Right,
or that
right.
that cap, and he's got the scruffy beard,
Yeah.
and he's changed his voice.
Yeah.
It's just terrific. So, anyway, so he's a great new man for this.
I'm in.
All right, A Star is Born. Take your choice. All 4.
Can't go wrong, really.
Right. Go to Netflix or somewhere and binge on the 4.
Right.
Then you'll be totally depressed by the end.